You meet a girl, the banter is fire. You get her number, and you're thinking, awesome, I'm in. But then the texting begins. At first, it's great, fast replies, emojis. But then, almost out of nowhere, it gets dry. Her replies start taking 2 hours, the energy completely flatlines, and suddenly, you're left on red for 14 hours just staring helplessly at your screen.
Why did she suddenly stop replying? Did I say something wrong? Look, most of the time, the problem isn't that you're not a great guy. The problem is you're falling into the biggest, most common trap out there, believing that texting is where the relationship actually happens. You think your phone is where you have to build all the attraction and prove how interesting you are.
Well, let me hit you with a massive reality check that's going to flip that belief completely upside down. You cannot build a mansion on a bridge. Texting is not where attraction grows. Texting is literally just the bridge. It is a low-pressure tool strictly used to keep a connection warm until you see her face-to-face again. Its only job is to playfully spark emotion and then step away.
We're about to completely rewire the psychology of the phone in your hand. I'm going to break down exactly how to text without being weird, without being boring, and without turning into our digital pen pal. After spending countless hours analyzing these exact fatal texting mistakes, I can promise you that fixing this just takes a simple but total shift in how you operate.
Ditch the job interview, removing from interrogation to playful assumptions. Stop relying on those logical, boring questions. When you ask stuff like, "How was work?" or "What do you do?" you probably think you're showing interest, right? But what you're actually doing is backing her into a totally logical, unimaginative corner.
Nobody wants texting to feel like a census form. When you rely on rapid-fire interrogation, the entire conversation just starts to feel like a chore. You're basically just pulling data out of her. And if texting you feels like she's filling out paperwork, yeah, she's going to stop replying. It quietly but instantly murders the vibe.
Just look at the difference here. Instead of a boring interrogation like, "How was work?" try throwing out a playful assumption. Say something like, "You survived corporate chaos. You definitely need a nap." See how that completely changes the game? It's not a question. It injects real emotion, it shows off your personality, and it invites actual human banter. She can read that, laugh, and naturally keep that bridge warm without feeling like she's on the witness stand.
But here's the terrifying reality. What happens when you send a genuinely great, playful text, and then you just stare at a blank screen? Injecting all the playful energy in the world is not going to save you if you fall into this next trap. Because what happens while you are waiting for a reply can quietly destroy whatever attraction you just built.
The silent tension trap, conquering the fear of silence. The rule here is incredibly simple, but it's the hardest thing for most guys to actually execute. Do not panic. And absolutely, under zero circumstances, do you send the double text when she takes hours to reply.
You know the exact feeling. Minutes turn into hours. You see, she viewed your story, but she hasn't replied to your text. Your internal monologue starts completely spiraling out of control. Did I sound too aggressive? Did I misread the situation? And then that familiar urge kicks in, right? The urge to send a random meme to bump the chat, or a haha anyway, just to backpedal and break that tension.
You start thinking, was that joke not funny? Maybe I should clarify. Let me explain exactly why reacting to this is so fatal. Forcing the conversation visibly broadcasts your anxiety right to her screen, and neediness is the exact opposite of confidence. When you panic and send that follow-up text, you're basically showing her that you become completely ungrounded the moment you don't get immediate validation.
So if you're sitting there asking yourself, should I double text? The answer is always no. Listen, silence is not always a bad thing. People have lives. They work, they hit the gym, they take naps. Letting that tension just hang in the air actually builds curiosity. When you step back, you're giving her the space to actually wonder about you while she goes about her day.
Now, if the conversation completely dies, like if she truly misses the text or just forgets to reply, you need to let the dust settle. Wait 48 to 72 hours. Seriously, stop trying to fill every gap. Put your phone in another room, go do something with your own life, and let the space breathe before you even think about attempting a recovery. And when those 72 hours have finally passed, here is exactly how you execute that recovery. You never, ever send the panic text asking if you said something wrong. Instead, you deliver a high-value, low-pressure ping. You don't bring up the silence at all. You just restart naturally, like you're talking to an old buddy. Saw a dog in a sweater today that looked exactly like you. It's casual, it's zero pressure, and it gives her an easy, fun way to jump right back into the chat.
But listen to me carefully here. A perfect recovery means absolutely nothing if you instantly become her digital pen pal. Surviving that silence is going to fail completely if, the very second she finally replies, you go right back to blowing up her phone all day long.
Match energy and maintain mystery. This is exactly how you cure the pen pal syndrome. You have to stop the constant all day, "Good morning, and how was your lunch?" check-ins. You might think constant check-ins are building a deep bond, but in reality, you're just flattening the spark into repetitive, boring small talk.
You have to follow a strict rule of investment here. If her energy is a short, 2-line reply, your move is simple: do not send her a paragraph. If she takes 3 hours to reply, do not reply in 30 seconds every single time. Why? Because you must match her investment. Sprinting while she is walking just makes you look overinvested and honestly, a bit awkward. The vibe stays smooth when the rhythm is balanced.
Because when you overtext, you completely destroy the one thing attraction desperately needs to survive: mystery. If she knows your exact schedule, what you're doing at 9 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m., there's literally nothing left for her to wonder about. The mystery vanishes, the spark flatlines, and predictability becomes the absolute death of romance.
So here's how you actually handle this. Make your name popping up on her phone feel like a total event, not a daily weather report. Have a punchy, fun 10-minute exchange, and then you need to be the first one to exit. Just say, "Hey, gotta get back to work." Exit the chat on a high note and then go live your actual life. This keeps the dynamic incredibly fresh.
Transition to real life. Putting the phone down. This is the ultimate goal and the core philosophy of everything we've talked about today. The entire point of the phone is to facilitate a real-life meetup. It is not designed to foster a virtual relationship.
The entire formula comes down to 3 simple steps: spark emotion, step away, and meet in person. Because a 10 out of 10 texting game is utterly useless if you freeze up on the actual coffee date. You have got to convert this digital momentum into real-life chemistry. Texting helps you start the fire, sure, but your physical presence is the only thing that keeps it burning.
Always remember this: attraction grows infinitely better in relaxed energy than it does in needy energy. You just learned the exact mechanics to stop being an anxious interrogator and start being a relaxed, confident communicator who effortlessly keeps the mystery alive.
We all have that one situation that completely throws us off our game. What specific texting scenario is driving you crazy right now? Drop your toughest, most frustrating texting situations in the comments right now so I can break them down in our next deep dive.